pledge allegiance
to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right. Thank you everyone for being here and those watching on TV. Everybody be prepared. Weatherman says we're going to get snow in the next day or so. Please be careful out there. I only have one statement to make. I just wanted to do a public condolences. Our former mayor, Tom Shavel, had passed away on January 13th. And just wanted to recognize he served the city of Hermann as mayor. They're going to have a celebration of life January 28th, 1 to 5 at the Eagle Hall, if anybody's interested. We'll move on to city administrator report.
Okay, last meeting I was telling you that the county emergency management director, Clyde Zelch, would be putting out a emergency preparedness video. I literally just got that link just before the meeting. So tomorrow with Corey's Health, we will post that on the city Facebook page, and right on its heels we'll post the code red notice encouraging people to sign up again. I'll get them, I think those two posted together will maybe get a little more movement. So, talked to Susan this week about the caboose. Did you guys notice the ugly fence around the caboose? That was a MIRMA risk management requirement. Apparently in another city there was a little boy who crawled under one and got hurt. So now we all have to toe the line. It's called they're calling it an attractive nuisance. Meaning that it just begs for children to come play and get hurt. So that fence was meant to be temporary to get through our audit. We had actually talked about it at budget time, and we had budgeted $3,000 for a nice aluminum fence, but since then it's doubled in price. I can't really see spending $6,000 on an aluminum fence. We've talked about painting black the fence that's there, and or getting slightly nicer chain link fence to put around there. But are you all in agreement that $6,000 is a little pricey?
Definitely.
I know it's not pretty, but yeah. So anyway, in case you get word of why that fence is there, that is why. Also, pool management. We are in need of a pool manager and a second assistant manager. We had a few leads and they all fell through kind of at the same time, so we're kind of on a tight deadline now because they have to get registered for a mandatory training in February. So it's kind of time to shake the bushes. If you can think of anybody, send them to Corey. We do have on the agenda tonight one assistant manager, but we generally have a second as well. I also received a notice in the past couple weeks that from the Missouri Department of Revenue, they have notified all the political subdivisions of a new manufacturing sales tax exemption, which is a nice little break for the manufacturers, but it does impact us a little bit because it includes the sales tax on city utilities for any qualifying business. And Carol and I were looking at them today. There were like 6 maybe that qualify for this exemption, but it could total over a year, it could be around $30,000. So it's actually effective in January. So we'll notice a few $1,000s between now and the end of the year and loss in sales tax from manufacturing. The last thing I'll mention, and Dave can fill in the blanks for me a little bit here, but I need to lay a little bit of a groundwork for Port Authority. So I spoke to the mayor briefly about this and wanted to bring it up because our local chamber director has been in communication with Steve Etcher, who is the consultant for the Montgomery County Economic Development Board. He relayed that in conjunction with Warren County, they are developing a mega site, basically an industrial site, to attract large projects to more rural areas, and it's going to be up there on the Montgomery-Warden County line. They are applying to establish, oddly, it sounds odd, but a port authority as a tool to bring this about. I mean, we obviously traditionally think port authority, we think waterways, but as Dave was doing some research, the counties only have to be adjacent to a waterway. And it also encompasses railways and highway transportation, and port authorities have a very strong economic development focus. And so, if I'm just going to read, Steve Etcher had sent some information, it's just a paragraph or two I'll read, rather than trying to put this in my own words. So he says, Port Authority is a powerful development tool that once created as its own political entity can issue bonds for projects, receive grants for economic development projects, can lead land assemblage efforts, and can establish an AIM zone, AIM, that's an acronym I believe, that will enable the Port Authority to capture 50% of the state payroll withholding tax on qualified jobs within the geographic area of future development. That's the AIM zone. This will be a tool that we intend to use in the development of an industrial mega site. The focus of a Port Authority is to create economic opportunities by leveraging all modes of transportation, including a port and riverways. As we discussed during our last meeting, Hermann's possible inclusion in the Port Authority creation will help align the community with the planned industrial development north of the community and help attract residents and support businesses through commercial and retail. I believe Hermann could be an attractive area for the bedroom community for the I-70 corridor, meaning that if they get big plants up there, and it would draw a labor force out to that region, and maybe people would choose to live somewhere beautiful like Hermann. Furthermore, including the Hermann geography will provide access to recreational side of the river and access to the Union Pacific Railroad. This will complement transportation assets in Montgomery County that include I-70, Highway 19, they have the Norfolk Southern Railway, and the commerce side of the river, and then the airport. Our approach to economic development is regional in nature, and we collaborate with multiple units of local government because our economy and labor force is regional in nature. Hermann, formally and informally, is part of that region, and the labor shed. So in my mind, it only makes sense to partner. So they're giving us this opportunity to be a part of their port authority. And so the Board of Aldermen, you are the ones who hold the decision-making power on whether or not we participate or not. I did confirm with him that, we are not bound to any expenses of this mega site project. He said that each region that is doing a project and benefiting from that project are the ones who basically pay the bill. He sees, like I said, Hermann as more getting a residual effect from this. And so he just thinks it's a way to leverage it as a tool for even our local projects because of this strong economic development arm. So the Chamber passed a board at their last meeting to present this as an opportunity to you all, and the city would have to be, like I said, the entity to pass the actual ordinance. And so they're asking to come to a meeting in February. It could be a special meeting, it could be to a Board of Aldermen meeting, but the Chamber would like to come with Steve Etcher and tell you a whole lot more than what I'm able to tell you tonight, because there's a lot more to learn and I have a lot more questions. Dave, is there anything you want to add to that?
Yeah, right. So who can argue with that? There's more details. Obviously, the details would have to be looked into. More business, more development, more residents living here that work up on I-70. But in reviewing the statute, some of the more detailed provisions of a proposed port authority would include that it has to involve political subdivisions that have a navigable waterway as a boundary. So Warren County, Montgomery County, Gasconade, Hermann, check. The Highways and Transportation Commission actually has to approve the Regional Port Authority and consider the population of the city and the county submitting the application, the technical and economic capability of the participating cities and/or counties, and the amount of actual and potential river traffic that would make use of the facilities developed by the Port Authority and the potential economic impact on the immediate area. So the river, it seems to me, according to the statute, remains important, and we'll have to see how they tie that into a development in Montgomery County up on the interstate. The legislative body or county commission creating the Port Authority shall designate what areas comprise the port districts. The legislative body of the city or county commission can appropriate, allocate, or expend funds for the planning and development of the district. The purpose of every port authority is to promote the general welfare and development within the district, to encourage private capital investment, and so on. The authority would have the power within the district and within the boundaries of any established port improvement district to levy either a sales and use tax or a real property tax, or both, for the purposes of paying the costs for any projects benefiting property in the district. The city could transfer property to the district if it wanted to. The authority may issue negotiable revenue bonds or notes to raise money. It's administered by a board of commissioners. That is, the Port Authority would be administered by a board of commissioners consisting of at least 7 members. The number of members of one political party shall not exceed the number of members of the other political party by more than 1. So it needs to be bipartisan. In order to be formed, the Port Authority actually needs to draft a petition and hold a public hearing and file the approved petition in the circuit court of the county or counties where the majority of the district is located. And then the circuit court must actually certify the petition and establish the district. And that's just some of the highlights, I guess, of the law. It's doable, and it, as you would expect, it involves public hearings and input and approval of the Highways and Transportation Commission, approval of the court, and if it all gets set up, though, it could be its own special sort of taxing entity or bond issuing entity to help raise money for some of these things.
If they want to come talk, for how long? I mean, when you say they want to make a presentation, 15 minutes, half hour, an hour?
That's just it. It really depends on how many questions we have for them, I guess. So we could do it like we did tonight and have a special meeting ahead of the regular meeting. It's really up to you.
I had just top of my head, I have a few questions, and I kind of don't want to be limited by time restraints like we had tonight. I would almost prefer it to be its own special meeting.
And that's what, yeah, I mean,
Sure, absolutely. You can do that.
whatever you all want.
I agree with that.
Okay. Well, I will be back with you all and then set something up.
Okay.
So you said the county commission designates the district, so will they meet with the county commission too, or will they?
They acted like, Tim Schulte was at the last, the new county commissioner was at the last board meeting when we voted on this, and they didn't indicate, or at least Steve Etcher didn't indicate that they had to do, they said the city would be the deciding factor to put in, unless they went beyond the city limits. So, you know, I guess if the county would be involved if they wanted to go past Hermann, but as far as our geography being a part of it, that's you all.
Right. How would they go about leveraging a tax? Would it be voted on, or would it be approved by the commission, or it would go to the ballot?
Yes and yes.
Okay.
Yeah. So the Port Authority district could include boundaries, including, the way I read it, you know, an hour I was looking at it this afternoon, the boundaries of Hermann and maybe Warren and Montgomery counties, and then you form this Port Authority Commission of the 7 or more members who can then designate development districts within those boundaries for development projects and whatnot. And then whether, I would think that well, bond issuance is a bond issuance, but in terms of taxes, either property taxes or sales taxes, it probably wouldn't be worthwhile unless they included the entire geographic area within that to promote this one development district. We can have 2 or 3 different development districts within the thing, so it would be interesting.
I guess we'll go ahead and move forward with the, did I just do that?
You?
I don't know.
So Montgomery.
Now you're doing
Anyway, okay, well, go ahead and we will do a special meeting when you can coordinate that.
So I'm sorry, it was
Is it a red
Montgomery
van?
Warren and Montgomery Warren and City of Green.
So I think that's what they're proposing. It looks like a red van. is
Big
one
red
of-
van.
Big red van.
Big red van.
Does it bother anybody? I
Is that,
don't want to hold up the meeting.
yeah, I think we ought to turn that off.
I can run out and stand closer to it if you want.
Yeah, here.
Just open the window.
Panic button.
Do you want me to do it?
Well, I did it on this. I thought, does that mean?
All right,
Okay, well,
this is my report.
sorry for the interruption. Okay.
Just a second, just a minute. So- I'm sorry, Trish, so this Port Authority is the entire counties potentially of Montgomery, Warren?
No,
Okay.
that's not my understanding. I think they draw a region.
Designated. Okay,
Yes, and I asked him directly if we would have any financial responsibility in this mega site that they're doing up there, and he said no. But we can ask him more questions about that, obviously.
okay. It's interesting.
Thank you, sir. Unfortunately, mine don't go off on that. Okay, we'll move on to Public Works report, please. I'll do up your silence.
Susan, I forgot to close the door behind you. Mattered.
So the utilities, the electric, water, sewer, and natural gas departments have all completed our projects to the Gosen Copper Mule property and the TNKR property on 5th Street. So all the utilities are live at both those locations. Glad to have those off our back and be moving forward with some other stuff now. The water department, they've been back on 7th Street the last couple weeks. They've completed the new main line installation from Gaethje to Jefferson. They'll be doing a tap soon on the Jefferson main, and then they'll be able to flush that line, take samples. As soon as the samples come back approved, then they'll start doing service lines along that street and have it ready for the spring paving project and get 7th from Washington all the way to Jefferson completely tore up, based and re-asphalted. So that'll be exciting to have that done too. The Parks Department has been working on painting bathrooms, picnic table maintenance, replacing rotten boards, painting them again, that sort of thing. As we talked earlier, they installed a fence at the caboose per Irma's request, and they've been cutting some low-hanging limbs in the park when weather allows. The street department's been patching a lot of potholes recently, and they removed all the holiday decorations. You guys might have noticed those are all down. They actually had a bunch of the mulch that we always have a mountain of at the compost site hauled off. They had somebody come in and took a pretty good portion of it, so that was good to get that out of there. They've also been trimming some trees over sidewalks, streets, where they're kind of low-hanging, UPS trucks and stuff run into them. And just preparing the trucks and getting ready for hopefully not much Wednesday. You know, if, maybe we'll get lucky, it'll not amount to much. So,
Anybody have any questions?
no, all right.
Thank you, sir. Okay, Martin Gerla, you have the floor.
Hi, my name is Captain Martin Gerloff. I recently passed my U.S. Coast Guard captain's license, so I did that about 6 months ago, and I just passed my master's last week, so I'm a master captain now. I lived my whole life in Chamois. I was born and raised in Chamois. I lived on the river all my life, fishing, hunting, doing all that. So I have a love for the Missouri River. I started fishing tournaments. I fished catfish tournaments all over the country, 15 different states. The Missouri River, I have experience from the mouth of the Missouri up to Sioux City, Iowa. On the Mississippi, I've fished from Greenville, Mississippi to Keokuk. So, and I've also filmed 2 TV shows that have been on national TV for fishing. Lund Boats is one of my big sponsors in Mercury Marine. So I'm getting up to what I'm coming to you guys about. The Missouri River is one of the most unutilized resources we have. I believe that. I think every time I'm on the river, anytime I take anyone on the river, they absolutely love it. So I am wanting to start some river tours. So I'm coming to you all, and my business is going to be Mighty Mo Adventures. I'm going to offer a service of, as of right now, I'm going to do 2-hour trips, probably 20 miles up the Missouri, possibly even the Gasconade River, depending on water conditions. And I want to just share my love for the river for everyone else. And obviously Hermann's a great place. There's people here a lot, and it's a great place to do it. I mean, I plan on doing it, regardless of whether it's Chamois, Gasconade. I just wanted to come to Hermann and see if it's something that you all would be interested in. So obviously you have the city park, so I'm coming to talk to you all tonight to possibly get a lease to put a dock in down at the city park to where it's downtown, people can walk to it, they can trolley to it, they can do whatever. So I'm working on, the reason why I'm coming to you now is because with COVID, everything's backed up. So boat builders, this boat has to be, if it's over 6 passengers, it has to be U.S. Coast Guard approved, and it's inspected yearly. Every year they'll come inspect my vessel and tell me, if there's something wrong I have to fix, this is what you need to fix. So it's all going to be legal. It's all going to be, I'm going to be friends with them. I'm going to talk to them, and they're going to tell me what I need to do at all times. So I'm not going to, it's all on me, but basically I need a lease to use that site, or else, I can go elsewhere. But I think the city park would be a great place to do this, since it's downtown and, everyone's right here. So basically, I understand there's some liability, and we would have to have it in writing and with, an attorney and my attorney, or whatever we need to do, however we need to draw it up. I have a friend in Ohio that does the same thing. So, and I talked to him, and he gave the lease. I don't know if you all have a copy of that or do not.
The attorney has reviewed it.
Okay, he has reviewed it. So, we'll draw something up similar to that, however you all want to do it. But I think it would be a great thing for Hermann. It would give people in the area something else to do. Besides, the wineries are great, everything's great. I think it would just help add to the area, something different. So, and I was looking at 18 passenger, everything's kind of backed up. The boat company I have right there, they're about 1.5 years out. So, it would be, I'm looking at probably 2024. I own a boat right now that I could use, possibly do some stuff this summer if I could get a dock installed and get ready. But I'm kind of pushing for the big to be 2024 spring. So, I kind of don't want to, if you all don't want to do it, that's fine. But I just don't, I don't want to waste your time and my time if you guys aren't interested in me possibly doing something. So,
I think there's a couple concerns that I would have. I don't know about anybody else, is if we would go ahead and do this, or allow you to do this,
sure.
we have to make sure that our boat ramps and all that are accessible.
Yes.
So I'm not sure exactly how we can do a boat dock down there where it's accessible because all of a sudden the bank goes up and people can get to you.
Right.
Safely.
Yes, safely.
And then the other thing is people that are riding your boat, parking, you know, we don't want them, all these people that come and use it recreational wise, they leave their boat or their trucks and trailers there, so they have to have a place to park.
I
I
understand.
mean, those are the only two things that really pop into my mind that could be an issue.
And that was the Missouri Department of Conservation's concern as well. I called them today, and they just said that, you know, they don't have a problem with it, but that they do not want public recreational access limited or parking limited to the public. I guess they gave us like $120,000 back in 1992 to develop the riverfront, and so that they've maintained some say over that,
what's going
yeah.
on. I understand that, totally.
Do you have a spot along here that you've looked at?
You know, I've kind of been looking, you know, with me being on the water, the concrete that's on the west side of the main ramp, you know, creates a good barrier for most water. You know, I'm looking more downriver side of the ramp and putting in a dock. Of course, there's gonna have to be concrete work done, a walkway, possibly a little bit of work on the bank to get to the dock so people get on and off of the boat safely. Because that's the main thing I'm gonna be on this is safety all the time. And, you know, I'll carry what my friend in Ohio recommended is I carry the liability insurance, but the city's name is on it, but that's part of my deal, $1 million liability. And that's for anybody loading onto my boat. So, I mean, that's kind of, it's kind of up to you guys what you want to do. We can designate, you know, we could put signs and designate parking down at the far end away from where boat trailers and all that sort, where they park. Designate an area, we can extend that parking, I can help with that. It's kind of whatever you all think.
And then I guess the other issue that pops into mind was we do have different events on the riverfront, 4th of July. I
Oh,
would
yes.
say, you know,
Oh yeah, definitely.
I don't see how you could even operate because of everything that's going on. And then we have these annual Boy Scout. Some of them are Boy Scouts, some of them are just people with these floats, and this is always a rest area or whatever you call it. They all
Right.
stop here and that. So I mean, we don't want it to interfere with anything that's already going on, I guess is what I'm saying. You know, I don't know how everybody else feels. I'm just throwing out, you know, I've been thinking about it and I like the idea.
Right.
You know, my thought years ago was try and get a paddle boat, go from here to Washington and back
Sure.
and forth. That'd be cool, you know,
Sure.
but, you know. You all have any idea?
I mean, my idea of say a Saturday that I come down, I'm gonna come put my boat in at 7, 8 o'clock in the morning, put it in, if there's a dock there, I'm gonna put it in, I'm gonna leave my boat, park my trailer somewhere out of the way, and that boat will stay on the water for all 4. You know, I was thinking of starting at 9 o'clock and doing 4 tours a day, 2-hour tours, whether it's,
So you'll put it in daily and take it out daily?
yes, that boat will be in and out. It's gonna be in and out. Now, obviously, if I'm paying for the dock and the liability, the dock will be locked. You know, it won't be for public use unless you all want to put a dock in for public use, and some places do that and have an area designated for me and an area designated for local people to, you know, take their boats off and go park their truck and do that. You know, that's another option. So, you know, I'm not asking for I just don't want to waste your time, waste my time, you know, that type of deal. It's going to take some time and some engineering for me to get somebody down here, and I don't want to go down there and have an engineer come down and say this is the kind of dock you need to do because of the current and all that, and I'll have to pay him to come down and do that. So I just kind of need an okay to look into it further, if everybody's okay with it, or I'm just kind of getting a feeling of what you all think about it.
I do agree with the mayor that it is a riverfront park. It is heavily utilized, you know,
Sure.
with a lot of different groups and
Right.
people paddling, kayaking down the river.
Oh, yeah.
I love it. How big of a dock are you thinking of with a 32-foot boat?
So, you know, the boat's not set in stone because that boat, you know, anywhere from probably a 24 to a 36-foot boat. And I'm looking at maybe to start off a 20 to 40-foot extension out and then probably some type of an L dock that goes downstream a little bit, that's probably 40 foot.
Okay.
So, if you can visualize, go out a little bit into the
Yeah.
water and then downstream.
Kind of an L.
And I'll pull up to the side of it and there'll be railings and to where people can walk straight on the boat, because, I just don't want to do it to where you got to get on my boat and I put the boat in or anything like that. I would like it clean
Do
and
you have
nice.
any concern? you've lived on the Missouri River. Do you have any concerns with the fluctuation? We've seen a lot in the river over the last.
There's gonna be times I have to cancel. With debris and stuff like that, it's always about the safety of the people on the boat. I'm not gonna take anybody out if it's not unsafe. I would never do that. People are running tours on like my friend on the Ohio River. He cancels and he says it'll fluctuate. He's below a dam, so it fluctuates 6-8 feet within 3 or 4 hours. So, he said, I wouldn't be concerned about that. If there's debris and the river comes up and you cancel it, you'll know, there's always some kind of river forecast that we can look at. And I'm a farmer in the river bottoms in Chamois, so I know, if the river's coming up, I watch it all the time because the crops are in the field. And so I always know, so I'll make a safe call on that.
So is the dock gonna be like permanent and anchored?
No, that's the other thing I was gonna talk about. So I would like to be able to pull it out. If we have a 93 coming, I don't wanna leave 50 grand laying out there in the
Right.
water. I'm gonna wanna be able to pull it out and possibly have the help of the city or somebody with some equipment. My plan is the docks I've been looking into, they come apart. So, they'll have a 20-foot piece. It comes apart. You got another 20-foot piece and I'll put it up on the bank somewhere until the high water goes away.
That was going to be my follow-up question. Was that this dock is attached to city property?
Right.
I don't want to see it ripped out and,
And float away.
floating down the river.
Yeah, a lot of stuff does when it floods, but I wouldn't, if I put this money into it, I would want to get it away, or if the city helps or whatever, I'll do whatever it takes to help, get it out of the water so it's, we're saving it. I may have to use city property up somewhere high to put it on, or, I'll have to figure that out, as we go, but.
Yeah, that might be a conversation to hold with Todd and Ben and Jesse at a later date.
Right.
Because when it's flooding, they have a lot of things they have to do
Sure.
on city property, and so their availability and the liability would be things to think about.
Sure.
I think the odds of us assisting with removal is probably pretty slim. But as far as finding a place to put it, I'm sure we, somewhere at the industrial park or whatever.
Right.
From a liability standpoint, we try not to get involved with private property any
Right.
more than we have to.
Right.
But your idea of putting it downriver from the main boat ramp is way better than having it down by the boat ramp, because the city dock that we had there got demolished. It got beat around all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Just because the fluctuation at that end.
Yeah, oh, yeah.
It's a lot, that thing would be sticking out of just the very bottom of it would be sticking out of the
Right.
water like a big ball.
Yep.
Would this, it probably wouldn't, but would this interfere with any of the commercial activity going on in the river?
No, it would not. No. I would be like a fishing vessel going up and down the river,
Just
anyways.
cat right around them?
Yeah, I would go around them and go on and, I've been around barges. I have a 22-foot boat right now and, not that much different than that.
And one other thing that I had mentioned to Marty, we've talked a few times about this, is that, there's always that possibility of somebody else wanting to do the same thing.
Right.
And then we might have to think about, what's fair and how many, do we limit it to a certain number? Those things might present themselves down the road.
Right. I would hope myself, obviously some people will come in, but, if I fill up my tours for 2024 and there's people ringing like crazy, I'm gonna go build another boat. And I will put another extension on the dock and have 2 boats. I have another captain that's already licensed, so I have a relief captain if he needs to come in and run the boat, and he'll be a deckhand also. I will always have a deckhand on my vessel too, to help people get in and off of the boat, and if there's a problem, there's somebody else there, so. But it doesn't keep anybody else from coming and asking the same questions I am today, so.
Any other questions?
I agree. Consensus, I think it's a good idea, but we have to make sure that the current ramps, facilities, the restrooms stays maintained and open for the public use as today.
Right,
I think it's a good idea, worthwhile looking into.
right. And I'm only talking 14 to 18 people possibly every 2 hours. So it's not like I'm bringing in 1,000 people in, 2 hours. You get what I'm saying?
Yeah.
I mean, it's probably people that are gonna be in your town, obviously anyways, and I'm hoping to bring people from St. Louis in the off times. Who wants to go, some people will just come down and take a river tour. I mean, I really believe that people outside the area, not even during my fest or Oktoberfest, will come down and wanna take a boat ride on a Saturday or Sunday afternoon. So even in the off times, I think it'll bring people in that not necessarily don't normally come here, but it'll give them a reason to come down on a Saturday and take a boat ride and stop in at the shops or do what they want to do. So
Go watch the Eagles.
watch the eagles, wildlife, the Chinese carp jump, people don't, we live in this town, we know about it, but a lot of people, the Missouri River is kind of scary to them because, it's a swift river and without experience, they don't go on it. So I think it's something that people really love if we can find a way to work it out.
So my feelings from what I'm hearing is everybody is in favor of this project?
Yes.
So that's what you're after tonight, right?
I'm after tonight is just move forward with it to where I can, kind of pick a dock spot and get a dock and bring it to you guys and say, this is what I want to do right at this spot. Can we legally, get a lease together, and what's the lease agreement on a 3-year lease or a 5-year lease of it, and go through the legal stuff so you guys are covered on liability and it's all on me and go that route, so.
Well, as far as I understand from everybody here, well, do you have a question or?
Well, so there is more information that you just received late this afternoon that we really need to review of some other people that are doing this too. And we'll need to talk about money, some sort of lease fee. And the reason I'm gonna read this information is because they're even like charging per head. A city is charging like a really small fee per head of your customers. So we need to think about, if there's any expense to the city in the broader conversation of, any kind of agreement we can draw up.
Right.
Well, that's all something we can work out down the road. I mean, what he's after tonight is.
Sure, I mean,
Can you hire an engineer and start working on some plans?
I mean, or, I'm gonna bring a dock guy down that knows, how to put a dock up and ask his advice. Cause I mean, I know about docks, I pull up to them all the time, everywhere, but I want somebody to tell me, yeah, this is gonna work or this is not, they build the docks. And, as far as the money, coming in, I think, I'm gonna bring other people into the city, so I believe it'll all work out in the wash and we just need to figure it out, so. And the guy on the Ohio's running, he told me, I think he's doing about 6,000 people a summer. And it's it's a lot like Hermann, but it's not bottlenecked with tourists like, Hermann is, obviously, so.
Are you gonna do any fishing charters out of here?
I'm
asking for a friend.
I've been asked that a lot, and possibly. The problem with fishing charters is you gotta catch the fish, obviously, and the Missouri River's pretty unpredictable, but yeah, I'll probably do that, so, yeah.
Well, I would be in favor of either, you and your business plan, but I'd be in favor of, I think the city is interested in something like this.
Okay.
I definitely like the downriver aspect of it.
Downriver.
Kind of, that's where the parking is, that's away from more of the recreational use. I think.
If you go too far downriver, if you drive down there, say, you guys drive down there, drive down there tomorrow and look, if it gets really low water, it gets pretty shallow down there. But this boat that I'm looking at has jets and it can run in about 2 foot, so I can still dock people. But if the water got this low, I probably couldn't.
Okay. Are you thinking of any sort of small office?
So I been in contact with someone down there that has a building close, and the guy on the Ohio has a ticket booth as of right now. I planned on doing a lot of it online, you know, the tickets and have that taken care of so I can get people on and the waivers and stuff online, so. Eventually, my friend on the Ohio leases an 8x10 spot from the city and it's a portable building he puts up for a ticket booth. So, I mean, if it got big enough, you know, and I got enough boats and t-shirt shop, stuff like that, I may be coming back to you. You know, I mean, but we're thinking ahead of our,
You're a big thinker, I like it.
huh? I mean, more boats.
That's right.
I mean, Herman's growing.
But it is, when
I would
we
like
talk
to
about
help.
this, it is another kind of neat aspect to add to tourism, to promote, so.
It's a neat
It's a
aspect.
neat idea.
We've already had to turn requests away because we couldn't find somebody local to provide that service.
Right.
Okay.
So
I
move
guess do your
forward and I'll
homework.
come back and see you, right?
Okay, all right.
Thank you.
Thank you. Good luck. Okay, move on to ordinances.
All right, so the first on the agenda for second reading, bill number 2022-55, an ordinance to annex property owned by the Peggy A. Hammer Trust dated November 1, 1999, and the Terry E. Hammer Trust dated November 1st, 1999. We had our first reading a few weeks ago. We looked into some potential discrepancies with respect to legal descriptions and some surveying issues turned out to be non-issues, and so we can go ahead and go forward with this.
Okay. I have a motion for approved second reading.
I move to approve bill number 2022-55, second read.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried.
Next, for first reading is bill number 2023-02, an ordinance to approve a sales tax at a rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of marijuana sold for personal non-medical use by an adult within the city of Hermann, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4th, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
Everybody understand what this is all about? Do I have a motion to approve?
We'll note that those viewing this tax is only on the sales of marijuana items, not for the general public on everything. It's just
Right,
on
not everything,
that
just
specific.
marijuana.
I make a motion to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Do we need to read that second time tonight, so it gets on the, right? If you would read it again, sir?
For second reading, bill number 2023-02, an ordinance to approve a sales tax at a rate of 3% on all tangible personal property retail sales of marijuana sold for personal non-medical use by an adult within the city of Hermann, Missouri, pursuant to Article 14, Section 2.65 of the Missouri Constitution, subject to the approval by the voters of the city at the general municipal election to be held on April 4th, 2023, designating the form of ballot and directing the city clerk to provide notice of said election.
Do I have a motion for second reading?
I'll move to approve bill number 2023-02 as second read.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. We move on, old business, anybody have any old business? Any new business? Now, move on to motions, we have a motion to approve the minutes from last meeting.
I move to approve the January 9th minutes.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Invoice for payment.
I move that we pay the bills.
Motion's been made to pay the bills, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Conditional use permit renewal for the outdoor liquor consumption stomping grounds espresso bar with Beth Walker, 214 East First Street. Do you have a motion?
I'll move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approved low bid from Sidon Stricker Nogi 72-inch mower for $14,250 for the park department.
Move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve a low bid of $11,000 from Neat and Nimble for printing of the welcome and visitor guide for the tourism department.
And in fact, just for the record, $11,100.
Okay. I'm having trouble here, okay? Folks, I got new eyes, you know, so it's like, anyway. Okay, excuse me, 11,100. Do I have a motion to approve that?
I'm sorry, Tammy, how many copies in 2022 did you have printed?
We did several printings. This version, we do one version early on, and then we do another version that we print hopefully before Labor Day. We're still learning how many of these to print because of some marketing that we did last year. We were sending out oodles of them, which was not a bad thing, but it is a bad thing because it's so expensive. So we're, I think, right at like 15,000
Okay.
as the first printing, the first version.
And that's what's gonna be printed out, is 15,000.
10,000.
10.
10.
Okay. Any other questions? If not, do I have a motion to approve?
I'll move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Approve the state bid of $46,410 through Hermann Ford for an F-350 snowplow truck.
Will we have it Wednesday?
I don't think so.
I think we'll be lucky if we have it in this calendar year, the way it sounded.
Oh my
So,
gosh.
Like everything else.
you know, that's, we're kind of trying to get this truck ordered now before the price increases again. But they couldn't even give us a delivery date.
Okay. Do we have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Vehicle for hire license for the Hermann Crown Suites, 403 South Market Street. Have a motion to approve?
I move to approve.
Motion made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application, Hermann Area District Hospital, Red Heart Walk, various city streets, sidewalks on the east side of town, February 14th, 2023, 10:30 a.m. to 1 p.m., or February 21st for a snow date. Have a motion?
Motion to approve.
Motion's made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Hermann Area District Hospital, Volksmark, various city streets and sidewalks, March 25th and 26th, 2023. Have a motion to approve that.
I will move to approve.
Motion been made, do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Hermann Area Chamber of Commerce, the Wiener Dog Derby, Lower City Park Ball Field area, concession stand and JC Pavilion in case of rain, March 26, 2023.
I move to approve.
Motion to approve the Weenie Dogs. I have a second.
I will second that.
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye.
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Missouri Stream Team Watershed Coalition Paddle Missouri 2023 canoe kayaking trip. Use of the boat ramp and parking at the riverfront, September 22nd, 27th, 2023. Have a motion to approve that.
Motion to approve.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
I'll second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. Special event application for the Alpine Shop Tour of Hermann Gravel Challenge Bike Race, Lower City Park for staging area and various city streets, May 5th through 7th, 2023.
I move to approve.
Motion's been made. Do I have a second?
Second.
Motion made and second. All in favor, aye?
Aye.
Any opposed? So carried. No other business. Do I have a motion to adjourn?
Motion to adjourn.
Motion's been made, do I have a second?
Second?
Motion made and second, all in favor, aye?
Aye.
We are adjourned. Thank you, everyone. Be safe out there.